Got some high winds kicking in. LEO still facing us. Law enforcement vehicle you see right there, protecting the directed energy weapon that you see right there. Coming to you live from Oklahoma University Research Campus North, their Weather Command Center, Max Westheimer Airport. You're looking at a NexRad, quote-unquote, Doppler radar. Doppler radars have more than one function. They're not just going to let you know where the storms are coming. They're going to be able to steer those storms straight to your direction. Frequency transmissions emitted from the tower that you're seeing right there and the tower that you're seeing right there. Those frequency transmissions were utilized in conjunction with other 100 NexRad frequency transmissions. And that was how Helene was steered up to Western North Carolina. Anyone can go and look at the transmission data that was provided publicly. There are North Carolina politicians, Tennessee politicians, Virginia politicians, and South Carolina politicians that are well aware that the military deployed Helene up into Western North Carolina as part of a land grab. The military is playing God with the weather, and the United States American civilian population, you are the guinea pig. Law enforcement has been doing a good job protecting these towers today. We've already had one encounter with Sergeant Reed that happened earlier on a live stream. We're in Norman, Oklahoma. For any Sooner fans out there, Oklahoma Sooners, if you are fans of the Oklahoma Sooners, I want you to know that Oklahoma University is assisting the United States military in playing God with the weather, and that these directed energy weapons at the Weather Command Center were utilized to murder families in Western North Carolina and steal their land that is enriched with lithium. Looking at one of General Dynamics' little pet projects right there. Little General Dynamics don't light us out here reporting this stuff right now, but if you happen to have stocks in General Dynamics, you've been seeing them increase. Current administration is going to expand the weather weapons system, which means those of you that are investing in Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Los Alamos National Laboratory, the Boeing Company, and General Dynamics, amongst others, you are going to be seeing a profit increase while Americans are poisoned more. You're going to be able to get that new boat you want. But you ain't gonna be able to sail under blue skies. You got checkered patterns above you, and your kids are gonna be choking on poison while you're reaping the rewards from General Dynamics. They don't want you talking about what they're doing with that particular tower right there, and we're here to tell you. Nothing good for America. Unis Corp, NexRads, your NSSLs, your directed energy weapons. They will emit frequency transmissions that repel weather systems straight into your area. If you happen to be living in an area where they have plans for a smart city, these weapons will be used against you in the near future. If you happen to be sitting on top of a bunch of lithium or oil or gold or silver or any other mineral that the military decides they want, these weapons will be used against you. Oklahoma University Research Campus has deployed the Oklahoma Police Department, Oklahoma University Police Department, working with Norman Police Department. Cleveland County Sheriff's Department has taken a back step. They're not getting engaged with the simulations that are occurring right now. Even though Chris AMASON is the sheriff of this county, Cleveland County, Oklahoma, he is the chief law enforcement of this area. It is the jurisdiction of Oklahoma Police Department, their Norman PD and University PD, not the Cleveland County Sheriff's Department. Cleveland County Sheriff Chris Amos does not care if the military poisons your children in order to play God with the weather. Does not care if that tower is used against you to send a storm your way and wipe you out so the military can get your land over to BlackRock or Vanguard. Sheriff Chris Amos does not care about any of those things. But Oklahoma University Police Department, they care enough. They've got a unit right there protecting the directed energy weapons to the left, to the right. Tesla Tower, yes. I would look at that and I would say that's the best description you can actually come up with. It was Tesla's technology that actually advanced the weather weapon system to the level that it's at today, especially with the technological advancements. Let me get that right. Tesla Towers. Nikola Tesla. Now, there are some people that say that these towers can be repurposed to draw energy from the ether and provide free energy to the American public. We would love for Sheriff Chris Amos to come out and to commandeer these towers, help us modify them to where every one of his constituents can have power without having to pay for power. Is it possible? Well, according to Nikola Tesla, it is. But the United States military has a better purpose for this tower right here. They've gotten the American civilian population to depend on Doppler radars so they can be warned in advance of a storm system heading their way. Yet the Doppler radars themselves are what would send a storm system heading their way. These towers, working in conjunction with HARP and the stratospheric aerosol injections, the poisons in our skies. Those are your three main ingredients, your three key components that allow the military to play God with the weather. Of course, they can control the weather. Of course they can. Congresswoman Green from Georgia. We will end these crimes, referring to chemtrails. HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr. Maybe it's something we're spraying that they're not spraying in other countries. President of the United States, Donald Trump. You have three high-level government officials that have confirmed that the military is playing God with the weather. And over 300 million Americans sitting on their butts doing nothing about the military playing God with the weather. If you happen to have one of these towers near you, we encourage you to look up to see who is building them. In the United States of America, Unis Corp beat out Raytheon to initially start erecting these towers all across America. The towers in Mexico are coming out of Argentina, although their technology is coming from the United States of America, the Israeli government, the Mossad, working in conjunction with the USAP operations. While the United States military pretends that they're in charge of everything, it's actually Israel that is in charge of the weather weapons system. We've been explaining that to a lot of you people and showing you the weapons technology that Israel has embedded within our systems itself. So the very military that bombed the USS Liberty, that assisted in the murder of everyone on 9/11, that was prominent in the border invasion the past 4 years. We got to thank the Israeli government for assisting all those NGOs and trafficking those children into America, and those terrorists, those CCP soldiers and Haji soldiers that ICE hasn't rounded up yet. They're looking for those street gangs. While the foreign troops embedded in our communities dig in deeper and plan whatever they intend to do when they are given the order to do it. United States military is playing God with the weather. Sheriff Chris Amason is hiding behind his desk. He's received credible intelligence that any other sheriff, if they received, they should act on it. The government is in violation of Title 50 of the PrEP Act, subsection 1520A. At this moment, they're in violation of it. And they were yesterday and the day before. They were in violation the moment Agent Rich of the Oklahoma City FBI took a complaint from an investigative journalist who provided information related to the military playing God with the weather and utilizing Helene to murder those in western North Carolina and steal land for a lithium grab. Once non-consent was delivered, law enforcement had a duty to come out to the University of Oklahoma, to this Weather Command Center in Norman, Oklahoma, and shut down the university to prevent anyone from accessing the facility, to kill all power to these towers. But Sheriff Chris Amason has decided that the United States military is allowed to violate federal law, that two people giving non-consent is not enough. If it's not going to be 100,000, then Chris Amason, the sheriff of Cleveland County, is not going to get his hands dirty. It doesn't matter that the two individuals that have complaints with the FBI is also fighting for the 100,000 that Chris Amason is waiting for to fight for themselves. He don't care. He don't have enough pressure yet. If you want to pressure, you call 911 right now. We've already had law enforcement come up to us once today. In fact, every day I've been on the ground, we've had law enforcement interacting with me in some capacity. Either I'm running up with them, my camera's just filming them, ready to go, or they're running up on me. And my camera's filming, ready to go. They need more pressure. They need Americans to contact them. You need to contact Oklahoma University and tell their police department to stop protecting military weapons and start protecting the members of the community around Oklahoma University. You call 911. You're not lying. The military's playing God with the weather. Your community could be next. Could be next. They could be coming for you. They don't care. You are a guinea pig. You are collateral damage. Every one of you that took the bioweapon, they don't think any of you had the ability to fight back because you gave in so easily in the beginning. Prove them wrong. Lace up your boots. Start going after the military's infrastructure they've embedded within the civilian population. We don't worry about being throttled or shadow banned. It doesn't matter. I mean, look at that. All these years. 12 years, we still go and get the job done. The only thing that's going to change and get these law enforcement officials to protect the American population instead of the military is to have more people go out and do what we're doing here in Norman, Oklahoma. There are hundreds of these directed energy weapons. They are near you. So you call. You go to the sheriff in your county and say you don't consent to the military playing God with the weather. You cite me as a source. Because when you cite me as a source, I have an official complaint with the FBI. I have brought an official researcher, whistleblower to the FBI. So you're only adding your complaint on top of mine. I've already laid the groundwork for you. All you got to do is notify your sheriff, and if they have any questions, they can call me, and I'll tell them what to expect. Expect a lot of pissed off Americans. Every day, the numbers to multiply. And then pretty soon, law enforcement will have to decide, are you going to protect Americans, or are you going to protect the military that's murdering Americans? It's one or the other. Which one are you going to do? Are you going to do what you did during COVID and lock Americans up and beat moms and dads for taking their kids to the park and shut down businesses? Or are you going to turn around and fight the military that's experimenting on Americans without their consent in violation of the PrEP Act? Are you going to enforce Title 50, subsection 1520A, that's being violated by the United States military right now? Are you going to enforce that, Chris Amason? Or are you going to enforce all the other laws and get speeders and get people who don't have their tags updated? Are you going to go after those people, Chris? You going to chase out the homeless people from under the bridges? What are you going to do, Chris? We're in your county, Chris. We're asking everyone to call 911 because you won't do your job, Chris. And we're talking about Chris Amason, the sheriff of Cleveland County, Oklahoma, that is still refusing to come down and shut down these directed energy weapons. We're getting more honks every day. We're continuing to push. How many more people have to die so the military can get the weather right? Or are they done playing God with it? And they're just going to make it rain where we have droughts and prevent wildfires and make crops grow. Is that what they're going to do now? Of course not. They can't control the weather without poisoning us. We're choking on barium, aluminum, sulfides. We're choking on manganese. We're choking on fungi, on molds, on bacteria. Chemical and biological agents are being dispersed over our heads, across our skies. The military can't play God with the weather unless they poison Americans in the process. They haven't found a chemical compound that wouldn't harm us yet that would give them the ability to play God with the weather. But they're researching it, America. So just shut up. You shut up and you wait for midterms and you get out and you vote Republican. You don't let those stupid libtards take over the government. It's the U.S. military, stupid. They're the ones poisoning our children. They're the ones playing God with the skies. Look at your skies. Every day we've been in Oklahoma City, we've been bombarded with chemtrails. Norman's the same thing. If you live near an Air Force base or a military installation, you see the chemtrails constantly being bombarded all around you. You're being poisoned. If you don't tell them you don't consent, then they can keep poisoning you. And they got a good argument right now. There's only 2 cattle bleeping right now in the whole flock. There's only 2 people that said they don't consent at a federal level. Everyone else, they're buying t-shirts. Everyone else, they're watching Doge. Everyone else, they're rallying to a president when he has a rally. We don't have to stop playing God with the weather. There's only 2 people that's delivered non-consent. So we're only violating federal law for 2 individuals. And the rest of America says it's okay to violate federal law. That's their argument. You have to take their argument away. Keep sending us pictures of the NexRads near you. Get out, do a live video. We'll promote you. We'll blast you. We'll blast you more than we put our own stuff out. Because that's when they start getting afraid. When you do something that no one else in America will do. You get off of your couch, you get out of the recliner, you get off of the desk, and you go out into the field and you get your hands and feet dirty. You're not taking a risk. It's not against the law to destroy a directed energy weapon being used against you. You can expose law enforcement in the process so Americans know that those people in uniform with shields and guns will come and be tyrants upon them, just like they did during COVID. You see Oklahoma police protecting this NexRad tower right now. That's law enforcement. Now, I can say for a fact right now, this guy's been sitting out here for 4 hours protecting a directed energy weapon. American taxpayers are paying that law enforcement, that vehicle. Let me zoom in. Let's see. That one right there. Uh-oh. Too far right there. You guys are paying that cop. You're paying him to protect a directed energy weapon that the military is using against you. He's getting paid to sit in that vehicle so he can move should anyone rush towards that tower and try to shut it down. He's being paid to protect the military's ability to poison your children so they can play God with the weather. He's being paid by you. So why are you paying taxes? You can cite VOP News as a reason for any jury why you should not pay taxes. You do not pay the king to assassinate you. Stop paying taxes. Stop sending money to Oklahoma University. They want you focused on Harvard, Man, why are you paying attention to Harvard? You realize we're trying to get you to pay attention to a university that the Trump administration wants you to ignore? They want you worried about Harvard and Cambridge and all the Ivy League schools where pro-Palestinian protesters are going out there and slamming the Jews. They don't want you focused on the institutions, the universities in the U.S. that are helping the military play God with the weather. You don't see Trump putting any laws or executive orders to stop this university from murdering Americans. But he'll put an executive order out there that says you better not say nothing bad about Israel, who has weapons technology on these towers, the Israel Mossad. They have more border security than the U.S. military does. The Israel government sees more than the U.S. military does is crossing the southern border because of their technology that we have on consignment from them. Now, we're just taking it on faith that Israel is giving the U.S. military all that data as it's coming over, so the U.S. military can see everything, but it's Israel's technology. And the Trump administration is moving in to protect Israel's technology on the U.S. soil, period. Not just the border, on the U.S. soil. If you're just now joining us, if you're being kicked in and out, don't worry about it. You're just watching Oklahoma police defend a directed energy weapon that the U.S. military used as part of a land grab in western North Carolina when they steered weather weapon Helene up into that area, dumped 30 trillion gallons of rain in an hour. These NexRad towers were activated with over 100 other NexRad towers, working in conjunction with HARP. They have a massive HARP facility. It's been built in the Arctic right now. The Trump administration is tripling the poisons in your skies, America. And you're not allowed to ask him about what it is they're spraying over you that they don't spray in other nations, because the U.S. military is testing new technology. And we are absorbing that technology. And you will shut up and vote Republican and get ready for the midterms. Because that's what you always do, America. Absolutely. The United States military has the capabilities of making earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, dust devils, monsoons, humid conditions. I mean, they can make wildfire conditions like no tomorrow. Droughts, just as they can flood you, they can drought you. They learned a long time ago that nuclear was not the way to go. That's why they have everyone distracted with nuclear. They are not doing nuclear, America. That's why Iran is still thinking that if they get a nuclear bomb, they're going to be able to do something, and they have no idea. And they haven't been told by the Israeli government that the nuclear smokescreen is just to get people worried about nuclear weapons. They don't want to destroy the planet. It can't heal from radiation fallout, but it can heal from a flood. It can heal from a wildfire. It can heal from a tsunami. It can heal from an earthquake, because those are quote-unquote natural disasters. So the U.S. military is playing God like a god would play God, only they're not good at it because they have to poison us in the process of controlling the weapon, or controlling the weather as weapons. Chernobyl was pretty affected pretty badly, especially if you look at the mutations that occurred within wildlife itself. And that's a lesson they've learned. They're not going to do nuclear against you. There's no recovery from that. Or at least that's what they're convincing the people that are in charge or think they're in charge. Everyone's being lied to. Satan deceived the world. Satan has America, and they give up their sons and daughters to volunteer in a military that poisons the skies, that plays God with the weather and murders Americans, that injects us with bioweapons after they tested them on our own sons and daughters that we volunteered to the military. It would have been far better if the U.S. government took your sons and daughters and forced them into this than you giving them up willfully with the lie that they are serving something greater. No. Satan could never be greater than our Lord. They're not serving anything greater. They're murdering us. We're going to end that for every one of you. You're thinking about sending your daughters, your sons into the U.S. military. Why would you do that? So they can poison your skies? Use these weapons against you? Pump you full of vaccines, bioweapons? Make the transhumanism effort a success is what the United States military is working on right now. Why would you give your sons and daughters to the sacrifice altar willfully, knowing they're going to be used to commit evils against you? Get your loved ones out of the military before it's too late. We're going to go play with law enforcement. Cameras will be ready to go. VOP News. Catch us at t.me/BorderWarsAZ on Telegram for everything you're missing here. Gotta go.